all the new people that are stepping up to lead and be seen and heard in our Sunday morning team. So that's my celebration.
I love that celebration, Mari. I'm with you. It's really cool to see so many new hands holding the parachute. I say parachute because when I was back in LA, I did kids' parties and we'd have a parachute, and I'd have to get all the parents to hold the parachute, or else nobody could fly. You remember, like, come on, put your drinks down, maybe mom and dad, let's get over here.
That reminds me, when my daughter is in the 80s, mid 80s, that was Jamboree. Remember Jamboree?
Yes. Yes.
I think I still have that parachute.
Moms who needed adult conversation.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Deb here. I just want to celebrate the month of May. My brother transitioned last year, May 4th, and I'm guided to do random acts of kindness this month for him. He is always doing something nice for somebody. So I'm going to honor him by doing random acts of kindness this month.
Bless you.
So that's my celebration. Celebrating Joe.
Well, you guys know I'm over in Ireland, so I'm celebrating hang out with a whole bunch of Americans at one time, which I don't get to do every day. So that's, as well as the course and Maureen and my friend Mia, who I know has something else going on today, but it's great to be here again. Thanks for inviting me back, and I'm looking forward to being a part of the service. And Maureen, I think I'm still thinking of your last service that I heard, and I hope we'll get a chance to chat sometime. I would still love to interview you on my podcast.
Absolutely. And maybe you'll want to come here and do a sermon sometime.
Okay.
So, absolutely.
Okay. Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah, groovy. Thank you.
I just want to celebrate another day of living.
I've heard that somewhere. Yes.
Another day of life.
Brilliant.
I want to say happy birthday for Maureen Claffey this week.
That was the start of the Earth, Wind, and Fire song, right, Richard? I just want to celebrate another day of living. Classic.
Mia, the song.
Take any credit you like. Be my guest. Richard's my middle name, so I'm fond of Richards, you know.
This is Mary, and I want to celebrate loving my job.
Beautiful.
I'll have 15 years this year, and they are giving me more and more responsibility. And because of the course, because of this whole community, I have so much more emotional responsibility that I can have adult relationships and really enjoy the 80 people that I work with every day.
Wow.
Thank you to SpeakEasy.
Did you say adult?
Adult, even at Trader Joe's, the happiest place on earth for adults.
Brilliant. Wonderful.
I'd like to celebrate a birthday coming up, and I have never felt so good, guided, and purposeful than I have this year in all my years. So, amen.
When's your actual birthday, Bruni?
It's tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow. Oh, that's awesome. I'm a May baby too.
I know, 25th, right?
Mm-hmm. 20th.
20th.
I'll agree to anything. You're like 25th. I'm like, yep, that's right. That's how much of a people pleaser I am. I will change my birthday for you.
Okay, it's 10:30. Kate, I'm going to highlight you. Thank you.
Good morning, Speakeasy. Welcome, everyone. It's time to begin, and we're going to start off this service with a song. So in doing so, I'm going to pass to Mara D'Alessio, who will be introducing our musician this morning.
Yes, good morning to all, and thank you to Lou Martin. We welcome him back to Speakeasy. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. In 1987, he had a spiritual Kundalini awakening during meditation, which changed his life. That opened him to work with the conscious energy of spirit and his higher self. After studying with spirit guides and teachers for years, he was unexpectedly initiated to begin to channel his own spirit guides. Lou studied spiritual counseling at Agape Center under Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith. He has done hundreds of intuitive and channel readings since 2006 and offered classes and healing sessions through the US, Canada, and Europe. He is a spiritual life coach, helping others to remember what they know. In Lou's words, life is a gift. It opens from within. His path is inspired by his own experiences with spirit and 35 years of studies with the works of Abraham Hicks, Lazarus, Dr. Peebles, Orion, and Daben, and Spirit. And from one of the channel readings, he says, the heart knows what the mind struggles to believe. He is an excellent musician as well, and we are so happy that he has returned to bless us with his music. So without further ado, I introduce you to Lou Martin. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a humbling thing to hear my life story read in 5 minutes there. Thank you. This is one of my favorite songwriters. His name is Steve Forbert, and this is his first album called Alive on Arrival, and it's called Grand Central Station. So we'll start with this. Grand Central Station, wheels and a deer, crowds rush and scramble, round past the newsstands and out across the floor, and I did some singing. I played guitar. Howling out words and banging out chords. Well, think what you will. Laugh if you like. It don't make no difference to me. I'll open my case and I might cash a coin, but all ears may listen for free. The clocks were ticking, trains came and went. Sad, ragged figures limped through the hallways and dug through the trash, while old folks and young folks passed in a flood, all going somewhere. Wrapped in their lives and gone in a flash. Well, think what you will. Laugh if you like. It don't make no difference to me. I'll open my case and I might catch a coin, but all ears may listen for free. Well, a man came a-talking, and he stopped where I stood. He warned me so good. Cops here will have you, boy, and they'll take you right on down. Yeah, but I took my chances, and luck saw me through. Stayed until I finished, opened my case and wrote out my sound. Well, think what you will, laugh if you like, it don't make no difference to me. I'll open my case and I might catch a coin, but all ears may listen for free.
So beautiful, Lou. Thank you for that moment to help us reconnect and to remember as we start off today. I'm excited that we're going to get to hear 2 more songs as we go through service. And with that, welcome everyone to Virtual SpeakEasy. I'm Kate Solis-Silva, grateful member of SpeakEasy and a part of our Sacred Movement team. SpeakEasy is where we speak easily about the limitless nature of God, of love, and of life. Here, we attempt to traverse tough and tender topics in hope of cultivating greater understanding and grace. We're a spiritual community with a global message, and we invite you to link arms in helping us to expand our reach. If you've received a reminder text today, take a moment to turn within and ask, might there be someone else that you want to let them know of this experience? If so, copy and paste and send in a text. It's that easy. Doesn't matter if they show up. What matters is that you played your part in being an extension of love. And frankly, isn't it nice to be invited? It's so great to be here with you this morning. If this is your first time, welcome. If it's your second time, welcome back. Our hope is that you make this your spiritual home. Our spiritual community is a place to engage. And the first step in doing so is that ensuring your full name is listed in your Zoom profile. We'd love to be able to recognize you by name throughout our service. SpeakEasy is the incubator of awesomeness, where we love making dreams come true and celebrating the very best of who you are capable of being. And so in that, I'm going to give you a brief overview of our service, which we'll begin with Mary Kasmerick sharing our mission statement, Maureen Muldoon leading our prayer and meditation. Then we're going to have the pleasure of hearing from community member and leader Sherry Sansom, sharing us with the power of prayer and living an abundant life, and shining a light on the story of Jabez and his relationship with God. After our talk, Lou's coming back with another song, and then Richard Ocean will offer a testimonial and information about tithing in our community using our virtual giving basket. And lastly, Bruni Movera will follow with sharing invitations and announcements. Because we exist on the generosity of our community members, we thank you for playing your part and taking the opportunity to consider making a donation today. Your donations help bring spiritual leaders, artists from all over the globe, and speakers to our Sunday service to keep our important conversations going. The giving links and event signups are all going to be listed in the chat. And so you'll note that I used a specific word, conversations, because we're going to have one today, okay? In this conversation, we encourage you to not leave your brains, your beliefs, or your backgrounds at the door. Because we don't have the answers, but we sure love the questions and being engaged in the conversation. So now that you have a roadmap about the flow of our service, I'll pass it to Mary for our mission statement.
Thank you, Kate. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Kasmerick, and I'm excited to share SpeakEasy's mission statement. SpeakEasy is a diverse and progressive spiritual community, sharing a message of love and engaging in conversations that inspire creative expression and spiritual well-being. We honor the Divine Mother and follow the teachings of A Course in Miracles and the principles of love. We see you as a unique expression of love, capable of divine embodiment. We say that truth is our passion, love is our religion, care is our currency, and peace is our goal. We attempt to speak easily about tough and tender topics so that we can navigate life with a greater wisdom and grace. We devote this service to the Divine Mother, Mary Magdalene, Jesus, Buddha, and to all of the names of God, to all saints and enlightened teachers and their teachings, specifically the teachings of A Course in Miracles. We welcome you.
So we'll just take a moment to settle into this space for this beautiful teaching today that comes to us from Sherry Sansom. And I just know and claim that we are so blessed that we allow ourselves to just be open-minded, open-hearted, open-handed, come with beginner mind, let go of all we think we know, let go of all the judgments, let go of all the preconceived ideas, and simply settle into this space of grace. Take a few deep breaths. We'll be here for just a few minutes, a minute and a half, just allowing yourself to be still in this moment. Practice the presence. Be with your breath and let yourself rest for a moment. And here we go. So I know we are already so blessed indeed that our love is with us, that our minds are open and expanded, and that we will see miracles. I bless Sherry from the top of her head to the soles of her feet. I bless Lou. I bless all the amazing helping hands for Kate, for Megan, for Joni, for all those who are working on the unseen side of things. I give thanks. And I surrender these intentions for a gorgeous, beautiful, and nurturing service and conversation. So we let it be, and together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Maureen. And, it's really a privilege to be able to introduce today's speaker, Sherry Sansom. I have to say, reading your bio personally, I was like, wow, you're bringing a lot to the table. So would love to just shine a light on that for a moment for everyone to share. And Sherry Sansom, knowing her as a professional speaker, she's an award-winning author. She's a Course in Miracles celebrant and teacher in our community, and who is passionate about guiding others and identifying and living life to the fullest. So in addition to that, with her author, being a speaker, I have experienced and witnessed Sherry in the power of her prayer, of her teachings, and the insight and the wisdom that she brings. And so knowing that, it's so fitting to, and I'm so excited for the community to be able to hear you talk a little bit more about how prayer really ties into living that abundant life and the story that you chose and the reason why. And so without that, Sherry, thank you so much for letting me introduce you, and I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning. I love, love, love that the SpeakEasy community honors the prayer of Jabez, because as you will see, I've had a revolving door relationship with that prayer for a period that spans over 21 years. It's a journey that humbled my heart, but it has grown my walk with God. It started with a dear friend gifting me the book, this very small book, The Prayer of Jabez, on May 8th, 2001. For reasons I no longer remember, I posted the following inscription on the opening page: book gift from Ellen Smith, first read 5801, first prayer 5801. Who knew that one day I would want to know the exact day that I started praying with Jabez? Who was Jabez? He was a member of the tribe of Judah who was somehow given a special place in the reading of the census of Israel, a rendition of a prayer whose requests were answered. Some call him a little known Israeli who bore a name that symbolized pain. I call him a giant of a man who managed with God to propel his spiritual influence into the stratosphere of spiritual influence with just one prayer, one verse, in a book filled with others who have the entire books that carry their names. As you will see, my journey with Jabez has not always been smooth, because even though I incorporated it into my life in 2001, and it created showers of blessings, I would one day abandon it. Even though many of my dearest wishes started to unfold as I stuck with the humble prayer, I still abandoned it. With the prayer in my life, I was writing, teaching, speaking, and coaching others in living their best possible lives. Many of the things I had prayed for years materialized. New people appeared in my life to help me. I wrote books. I organized a series of weekend retreats with a friend. I stood on big stages at women's conferences. All my dreams were all happening, and I still abandoned it. I'm sure you're saying, why? Why? Because in 2006, a rival thought system arrived on the scene, and I jumped on board with a full and expectant heart. It was almost as if a tall, dark stranger had entered the room, winked at me, and I immediately followed him anywhere he wanted to go. This new arrival was a video called The Secret. I fell hard for The Secret. I decided that all, capital A, capital L, capital L, all the answers to all of life's abundance questions were in that video. I now knew why some people have more than others. I now knew why I could manifest more things and how I could manifest more things in my life. I did have results with things. I became a loud and constant promoter, asking everyone if they'd seen the video, had they tried to manifest. I stayed on this path for years and didn't even realize that my dreams, writing, speaking, and teaching, were drifting away. There is nothing inherently wrong with the video, but as you will see, I had used it in a way that edged out God. And deep in my heart, I knew something was missing. Then one day, I spotted the book on the shelf in my office, The Prayer of Jabez, and I took a few days to read it again. Before I was done with the first chapter, I was back on my knees. I know now that the something that was missing was having a relationship with God in creating beautiful, quiet conversations and a feeling of being loved and led versus leading. I was literally going to the river of abundance with a coffee cup when I had the choice of jumping in and bathing in God's goodwill while resting in the flow of the river. Just imagine that. I was literally going to the river of abundance with a coffee cup when I had the choice of jumping in, bathing in God's goodwill, and resting in the flow of the river. Looking back at my time with the video, I realized that I had surrounded myself with things, most that contributed nothing to my soul. I was using the math of man, adding one item at a time, when I could be available for the math of God, which is multiplication. I was done. I was done window shopping, wishing for things in the window. I needed to refocus. My focus had been on form versus expanding my consciousness through God. What I wanted was a deeper relationship with God. I was reminded that we live in an abundant world that is so bountiful that we tend not to notice. We take too much of it for granted. God's gifts in nature are prosperity in action, prompted by a plan of effortless regeneration. God's plan for man also includes a prosperity plan. Through prayer, we can reap the benefits. You see, my friends, God is always the link between desire and abundance. God is the consciousness that you need to soak yourself in as you reach for a life of abundance. Back to my journey. Eventually, I was drawn back to that simple prayer of Jabez, found in 1 Chronicles 4:10. Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. And his prayer was answered. What was it that gave the prayer of Jabez so much power and influence when one is seeking God's help? A sincere connection, trust, and surrender to God. Jabez did not need to walk past his good in a showroom window. He trusted God to deliver. Why was his particular prayer answered? All prayers are answered, not just the prayer of Jabez, but many answers go unnoticed. And some prayers are built on anything but trust and surrender, and we simply give up before the great reveal. The prayer of Jabez has 3 elements that I weave into my prayer life that will create a tsunami of good for you in your prayer life, for your family, your community, and the world. 3 elements. The first is to ask. Plant the seeds of your desire. Don't just claim it. Ask God in prayer to bless you and your situation. Be specific like Jabez and enlarge my territory. Be specific about the area in your life that is causing you concern. Don't be shy. Ask for blessings beyond financial. There are other houses of abundance, such as health, family, friendships, relationships, and more. Ask for experiences, not just things. Number 1 is ask. Number 2 is allow. Don't block possible expansion or set deadlines. This portion is called harvesting for good. Harvesting is a process. Think for a moment about a farmer who waits patiently for his harvest. He has planted the seeds and does his part of watering and fertilizing, etc. But his hope is in the part that God plays in his harvest. God provides the sun, the rain, the weather patterns, and other elements. Working together, they produce a fine harvest. The last step is appreciate. Appreciation is gratitude. It's the celebration and honoring of the divine connection with God. A corn farmer can tell you how many corn plants he sowed, but he can never tell you how many plants will survive or how many ears of corn he will reap at harvest time. And even after the ears of corn are harvested, the parts left behind have value that are also harvested. A harvest is an expansion, and you want expansion in your life. I want expansion in my life. It opens the door for a continued flow of good. In many crops, the seeds for next year's crop are harvested in this continual cycle. Living the prayer of Jabez benefited me by strengthening muscles that needed to be strengthened in my life. And these served me in all parts of my spiritual walk. When I ask, I recognize God's role as co-creator in my life. When I allow, I reinforce my trust and surrender, and those muscles grow and flex. When I appreciate, I shine a light on both God's grace and my gratitude for the blessing. And here's the cherry on top. God always over-delivers. Jabez, in his wisdom, did not simply ask for 50 acres, 100 acres. He asked for his territory to be expanded, leaving space for God's grace and how large it would be. The open structure of the prayer of Jabez has an opening for the Spirit that I call this or something better, an opening for the floodgates of miracles beyond what we can see. When I ask, allow, and appreciate, God always over-delivers. His grace of going beyond the expected has footprints all over both the Old and New Testaments of the Bible. For example, when he graced the wandering people of the desert with food that they called manna, there was always an overflow. When Jesus fed the multitude, 7 baskets of food were left over after everyone had been filled. When God's people needed oil to rededicate the temple, the people saw only enough oil for one night, but the lamp continued to burn for 8 days. God always over-delivers. How did God over-deliver for Jabez, who humbly asked for more territory? In Jabez's present, if you look at 1 Chronicles 2:55, you will see that in Israel, all the family of the scribes dwelt at Jabez. Jabez had a town bearing his name, where the learned men of his time gathered. As for future expansion, humble prayer for more territory is evidenced by the very fact that we are discussing him today, over 2,000 years later. His prayer crosses cultures, religions, oceans, and mindsets. This man of God, Jabez, is the subject of talks, sermons, and discussions that indeed expand his territory and consciousness and cause anything but pain into eternity. I would call that over-delivering. We are blessed in this community to be in the midst of a course in abundance, guiding us in expanding our abundance consciousness week by week. Harvesting is our next chapter. Had I been in such a course, I might not have spent years chasing abundance in form instead of abundance consciousness. In closing, I would love to share a way that you too can harvest with Jabez. I'm going to offer you a 30-day challenge. Ask. Pray the Jabez prayer every morning and plant the seeds of prosperity and good for 30 days and watch what happens. Number 2, allow and notice. For 30 days, write down your blessings, both the expected and the unexpected, because remember, God over-delivers. This is how I strengthen my muscle for greater belief, greater trust, greater surrender, while preparing the soil for appreciation. Appreciation, number 3. As your prayers bear fruit, and they will, thank God by sharing the blessings through tithing, sharing your bounty with family, community, and the world. The prayer of Jabez does not include this step because his culture was steeped in tithing, giving, and helping the poor. His prayer is prefaced by the statement, he was more honorable than all his brothers, as an indication of his dedication to his community and his faith. It is through prayer that I cultivate growing and expanding God consciousness in my life. By listening to God, I can follow his lead to the best that lines up with plans for my life. That's my sharing for today. Thank you for listening.
Oh, Sherry, I mean, I hope that you have a moment to see the comments that are coming in the chat. Man, what a tsunami of good you just shared with our community. I'm so grateful. I'm really looking forward to being able to explore and unpack some of the steps of the prayer that you shared that's working for yourself and how we can ask, allow, and appreciate moving forward. As we do that, let's take a moment to celebrate what you just offered our community in another song. So turning it over to you, Lou.
Thank you, Sherry. That was profound and deeply moving. I relate to being distracted by The Secret for some time as well. It was a good distraction, but thank you so much. So this is my song. It's called I Believe in You, and I do want to dedicate it to this great community that I'm honored to be stepping in here and visiting with here today. So. Don't let anyone ever tell you no, that your dream can't come true. You will reap every seed you sow. I believe in you. Don't let anyone ever break your heart, make you feel sad and blue. You are here to play your part. I believe in you. There's a path through the forest deep, where the messenger gets through. Every gift you give is all I need. How could I not believe in you? Don't let anyone ever shake your faith. Everybody is searching for a clue, and you've got something to say, and I believe in you. There's a light and it's burning bright. I watch the blaze the whole night through, like a star that shines so far. I believe in you. Don't let anyone ever slow you down. In the end, that's all they could do. On your head, you wear a crown. I believe in you. I believe in
Beautiful. So much to talk about in conversation today. Belief, remembering, prayer, tying it all together. Thank you so much, Lou. Now we'll turn it over to Richard Hushin to share his personal connection to giving.
Hey, Richard, unmute, please.
Okay, great. I thought I did that. Okay, well, take two. Good morning, Speakeasy. My name is Richard Ocean, and I've been a member of this beautiful community for approximately 2.5 years. And I felt moved to share how this space has become my spiritual home. First, let me say I adore Maureen Muldoon and all the teachers here at Speakeasy and on the team and in the community. So that's kind of easy peasy. Speakeasy offers some amazing programs, which are all free or with a love donation. And I personally have witnessed many lives change here, including mine. The recent offering of A Course of Abundance is already making a significant difference in my life. Other programs I participate in are Miracles Live 365, the Always Awesome Sundays, and the Writers Group. If I had to pick one, I'd pick them all because, that's how I roll, I guess. But what really, really, really changed my life and something I learned here was tithing. Not just peeling off 10% of my income, but tithing with a grateful heart and an overflowing heart and being present when I tithe. I learned that here and I'm grateful for it. Speakeasy is a non-for-profit community and we exist on the generosity of our community members. We thank you for playing your part and for taking the opportunity to make a donation for today's daily bread. Your generous donations help us bring spiritual leaders, artists, and speakers to Sunday service and keep important conversations alive and going. And so today I invite you to go within and see what is yours to share. The donation link is on the chat as well as on our website, SpeakEasySpiritualCommunity.com. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share.
Thanks so much, Rich. Okay, now we'll pass it to community member Bruni Rivera to tell us about all the things that are going on in Speakeasy today and throughout the week.
Hi, thank you, Kate, and thank you so much, Sherry. I accept your 30-day offer of prayer with the Prayer of Jabez. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for being here. My name is Bruni Rivera, and I am so, so grateful to be a member of Speakeasy. Speakeasy is a virtual spiritual community with a full calendar of events available to support your spiritual journey throughout the week. And some of the week's events are Ho'opono with Amy Anderson on Tuesday. On Friday, introducing the work of Byron Katie, that is led by Elizabeth Keats. Havening Techniques with Mia Sarah Williams on Saturday. And both dating and parenting salons are meeting this week. Now, the parenting salon is going through its nice new cycle, so now is the time to join and rejoin. You can find the link to our calendar events in the chat or at SpeakEasySpiritualCommunity.com. There you will find Zoom details, the times, the registrations for each of the events, and many, many, many more. So please take a look at our website and see where you can get involved in our what our Speakeasy community has to offer. So thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much, Bruni. Okay, so now's the time for the truly unique experience of Speakeasy, our community conversation. This is where we invite you and encourage you to speak easy, to find your voice, your truth, and to share it in community. We want to hear your inspirations, your new awarenesses, and your questions. When you feel called to raise your hand, share a comment, raise your virtual hand located in the reactions tab at the bottom of your screen. And please also note to leave your video on when doing so. Not only do we want to know you, we want to see you. So with that, as I was saying, Sherry, if you can see how active the chat has been since you spoke, and since then, I'm really looking forward to diving into the topic a little bit more. And if I can kick it off, here's my sheet of what I was writing down feverishly while you were talking. A deeper relationship with God. God's that link between desire and abundance. And really what I was just like, with the so many truth bombs that you shared, was really the difference between chasing the form and being in the consciousness. And I was wondering if you could speak a little bit more to that last nugget, that difference between form and consciousness and abundance.
Sure. What I discovered when I looked back at my time with chasing the form was that I was able to produce the form sometimes. Let's say, I'll just use an example, as a new couch. But it's just form. Once it's there, it doesn't add anything to you or to your life, really. When I am creating with God in my co-creator position, I am more aimed at, number one, I'm working with him on his plan for my life. And believe me, it doesn't include a new couch. So those things were pulling me away from my direction. They literally pulled everything good that I created with God out of my life and left me with things. And when I am creating, I always ask myself, why? Why do I want something? So that I will find out if it's for me, because it's so easy to create from a place of otherness. When I see a beautiful blouse, do I want that blouse because it's beautiful and it's going to make me happy? Or do I want that blouse because when I walk into work wearing it, everybody's going to go, look at her? That's two entirely different ways to create, to add things to your life. So I am at a place now, and I have been for a while, where I want to add things in my life that are co-created with God and that add to my life. So it's asking yourself, why do I want that? And getting the answer back as to what it will do. There's nothing wrong with having a new couch in your life. There's nothing wrong with that. But there is something that's off when you proudly say, I did that. Me by myself, I did that. And that's where I went with the secret. I was kind of getting into the headset of, I'm doing this. God's sleeping. I'm doing this all by myself. Not good. So.
Thank you so much. And I really am taking away that definer of the why and who is in partnership in this abundance creation. And so the hands are starting to raise all over the screen here. So Megan, love to hear what's coming up for you.
Oh, hi, ladies. Sherry, I think you are just phenomenal. And the one thing that I think of when I think of you is just peace. I really do. Like when you say you were chasing things, I'm like, I can't even imagine that. But, I will say thank you. So many things came up for me, but I know the feeling all too well of wanting the material item and how empty I feel once I get it, right? Like I have a God-sized hole. That's what we say in 12-step program. I've tried to fill that hole with just about everything, Sherry. And I'll get the thing. And then about 12 seconds later, I'm like, okay, now what do I need? And so when we're talking about the difference between consciousness and form, it's like, how long am I going to struggle? How many things am I going to fill that hole with before I realize I'm just as lonely and empty as I was before I got the thing? And coming here, I've learned that it's consciousness, right? I've learned from you, from so many people here, like the grace and forgiveness and the stop struggling so hard. There's something way bigger than you, Megan, that will help you fill that hole and you can stop running. So I was like teaching this to my daughter yesterday, who does not want to hear anything I have to say. And I was like, how about just stop struggling? Just it'll happen. And she, of course, is like, whatever, Mom. But I can only share that now because I've struggled so hard. And now I hear your message, Sherry, of like, just ease into it, girl. You know, relax. Let God do the heavy lifting. So I just think you're the best, Sherry. Thank you.
But thank you, Megan. You made me realize something that I probably need to clarify. I learned in the course that form follows consciousness, which was something that I didn't know before I came to the course. So there's God consciousness and there's other consciousness. So it's the God consciousness that we want to follow. I hope that clarifies it some.
It definitely does.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. And again, echoing that soothing, that realness that you bring to these tough and tender conversations. Colin, what's coming up for you?
Hi, everybody. It's Colin here. I'm zooming in from Ireland, and it's lovely to be here. I haven't been in a few weeks. My apologies for not being here, but I'm back today. And I just, Sherry, thank you for sharing. I realized when you were sharing that I used the Prayer of Jabez for many years, but then I stopped using it. And so your story resonated. And I tend to, if I find something like the Prayer of Jabez, I'll put it in my phone and I put it on repeat message. But I realized only today that it repeats only once a week. So it's now going to repeat once a day. And I accept your 30-day challenge. The other thing, I wrote down something you said, I put it in the chat earlier. Math of man is addition, math of God is multiplication. So I think that's a truism. Thank you for that. And the other thing, if you don't mind, I'll just share this. I read a devotional. It's called Two Listeners, and something you might want to check that out. But if I may, I'll just read today's piece because it says delay is not denial. And I was just thinking, Megan, there, what you were saying about your daughter. You know, be patient; it'll come. You said, Sherry, you said ask. And then you said allow, and you said be patient. So if I may just read this, if that's okay. So delay is not denial. This is the reading for May the 1st. It says, read the lessons of divine control in nature's laws. Nature is but the expression of eternal thought in time. Study the outward form, grasp the eternal thought, and if you can read the thoughts of the Father, then indeed you know him. Leave me out of nothing. Love all my ways with you. Know indeed that all is well. Delay is but the wonderful and all-loving restraint of your Father, not reluctance, not desire to deny, but the divine control of a Father who can scarcely brook the delay. Delay has to be sometimes. Your lives are so linked with those of others, so bound by circumstances, that to let your desire have instant fulfillment might, in many cases, cause another, as earnest prayer, go unanswered. But think for a moment of the love and thoughtful care that seek to harmonize and reconcile all your desires and longings and prayers. Delay is not denial, not even withholding. It is the opportunity for God to work out your problems and accomplish your desires in the most wonderful way possible for you. Oh, children, trust me. Remember that your Maker is also your servant, quick to fulfill, quick to achieve, faithful in accomplishment. Yes, all is well. So thank you, Sherry.
Thank you. Delay is not denial. That's so true. And that's how we sometimes miss our blessings coming to fruition because we become impatient. We lose the trust that God is going to take care of it for us. And that quote about multiplication and addition, that's a Muldoon-ism that we hear quite often. And it's very, very true. And it speaks to how it works. But thank you.
So I'm curious, Sherry, because you not only shared such beautiful words and experiences from your walk and your heart, but you've also opened up an invitation to our community to experience this for themselves. And so I've seen through the chat since you were speaking, some people wanting to take part in this 30-day invitation. And I was wondering if there's anything else you'd like to add about that part, or if any other questions are coming up for community members here around that.
Well, thank you. The biggest, you will get a lot out of the 30-day challenge, but the biggest challenge, not the biggest challenge, the biggest muscle you will build is trust. trusting that the process has begun to answer your prayer, trusting at the end of 30 days that if you don't see it, that it is still coming. Sometimes a lot of things have to be arranged for the it that you are embracing to come to fruition. A lot of things have to be moved around, and sometimes it's just not time. And you will get it, but you will get it in time. So that's one of the, and surrender. Surrender and trust to me are like scales. Learning to surrender to God and believe that He has your best in mind and that He is going to deliver. I always believe He's going to deliver.
Such a beautiful remembering to come back to. And thank you, as you outlined realistic steps for us to start taking in this. So, Megan, question here. Thanks for sharing that in chat. What do we do for 30 days? Say the prayer? Just to clarify, Sherry, how do we start on this journey?
Well, number one, you ask, you say the prayer. Don't just claim it, because there's a saying out there, just name it and claim it, you know. Ask basically on your knees as an example, specifically for what it is that you want to see occur and happen in your life. And then allow and notice. You have to allow space for it to happen. It's there's no genie in a bottle that goes, you know. If things happen that fast, I can't even imagine what life would be like. You have to allow for it to happen. And I added and notice, because things start to move, the wheels start to move slowly, but sometimes your eyes are so far off into the future of the thing that you're not noticing that the wheels are turning, that some things are happening slowly. And last, appreciate. And appreciation is overlooked most often, more than the asking and the allowing, because we don't notice that it's happened sometimes, and then we don't go back and say thank you.
Any questions coming up from here? And I have one for myself, Sherry, if I can clarify. So are we focusing on one area to start with in this 30-day invitation? Or are there a myriad of topics that we can explore during that time for ourselves with prayer?
Well, God is unlimited.
Mm.
You're not going to bog Him down. So,
yeah.
Or bog her down, or, you know, you're not going to, God is unlimited. So,
yeah.
It doesn't have to be just one area. And that's why I wanted to point out that sometimes we start to think that the word abundance equals money. Abundance is in all the different houses of our lives.
Okay. Seeing that, Colleen, thank you so much for clarifying also the piece of writing it down in our 30-day challenge here. So I wanted to bring that up to highlight. And then Liliana, love to hear what's coming up for you.
Good morning, everybody. I just have a quick little story, if I can really just make it in a little capsule. So I'm away helping my dad out, and I've been away from home and I've been away from my work, but I know some people have followed me on my little Facebook page, but I just wanted to tell you this little miracle that happened. And it started a little over 30 days ago, I would say. And it's the birds. I don't know if anybody saw the whole thing with the wreath and the nest and the birds. So every year we used to get a Christmas wreath. And this last year we didn't get a Christmas wreath. And then I said, oh, what am I going to do about the birds? They're going to come back. And I need a wreath. So I went on eBay and I asked this woman who was selling this beautiful wreath. It was way too much money that I wanted. And I explained what I needed the wreath for. I said, we have these pair of birds that come back every year. There's no wreath there. So I got the wreath. She said yes and got the wreath. And the wreath came and then waited. And then all of a sudden the nest appeared. And I'm away now. And my coworkers are taking pictures. They said, we have a nest. And then we have an egg. We have 5 eggs. And then the next was these 3 little baby birds and their little mouths open. And then there were 5 baby birds. And then there was only 4 baby birds. We couldn't find the 5th baby bird. And then, but the whole thing was just so beautifully, it was just so beautiful, because then all of a sudden we saw 5 baby birds. And then I knew they were about ready to fledge, but they got a picture right before they fledged, and then they fledged, and then there's an empty nest. And the whole thing was just this whole thing of just trust. And I was just being fed this beautiful miracle from my coworkers, and I got to see it happen. And the whole thing just was like, and then I wrote to the woman on eBay. Oh yeah, on eBay. Yeah, I think it was, yeah, it was on eBay. And I was able to send her pictures of how she answered my request to have a reduction in the wreath, because it's a silk wreath, you know, it's pretty pricey. Anyway, but that's okay. And then she said, you don't know how much I needed to hear that today. Thank you so much. And it just was this, and I've written to her twice or three times, and I've showed her pictures of them, and then they fledged. And she's like, how do you know when to write me? You know, she said, your words are just so, this is big, huge, wonderful, expansive thing. So it was basically the prayer of Jabez. All played out. Because everybody's been blessed. My father's been blessed. My and people everywhere have been blessed by this little nest of eggs. So thank you so much for letting me share that.
Thank you, Liliana. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Well, and Liliana, just to let you know, I've been watching the community. People are leaning in, sending you hearts. Your energy around your story is palpable. So thank you for sharing their abundance and energy. And I thought I just saw a hand come up and down here. Am I missing someone here? Anyone have a thought that they want to chime in? Mary, come on in.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Sherry. I really loved your talk. I've been using the Prayer of Jabez for the last 7 years since Maureen taught it to our community. And I have it in my phone in the note. And each time I used it with particularly a person, I wrote down the date, the date that I started, and then the person's name. And the way Maureen taught it to us was say the prayer 3 times for yourself first, and then 3 times for the other person. And say it until you have peace, until there is peace in the relationship or just peace in your own heart. And I have seen multiple, like I have at least 20 names, and each time I said it, there was peace. The last time I've used it was I had a one-on-one with Maureen about a month ago, and I had an issue with one of my bosses, Daniel. And I've been saying it for myself, for Daniel, for the last 30 days. And I knew that, I just knew already that there was abundance. I knew ahead of time, even though sometimes it's hard for me to say it for the other person in the beginning. I just say it. I actually wrote it out in a beautiful poster, and I have it right next to my bed, because sometimes I get stuck on the words. I can't even think of the words. All these years, I really don't always know it by memory. So it helps me to have the words written. So it was just 2 days ago, Daniel smiled at me, and yesterday he thanked me for something. I already saw the relationship change in my mind, in my own heart first. And then now it's changing for the two of us. So I can just attest that ask, allow, appreciate. The other tip that I have, I learned from Maureen last year, is to say it in the past tense. Mm-hmm. Oh, that you have blessed me indeed and expanded my, and the way I say it is expanded Christ consciousness within me. That your hand has been with me. You've kept me from fear, and I haven't caused pain. And to say it in the past tense kind of is a nod to the fact that all of what we see right now has already happened. Mm-hmm. And it also brings me, like it transcends me, not to the future, but to the fact that it is already done unto my words that I'm speaking. That has really helped me and kind of escalate, and it's kind of just rounded out, fulfilled my prayer as I speak it. So I just love the words that you speak about with Prayer of Jabez. I love the history about it, and the 30-day challenge. Oh, one other thing is that one of the things I've just learned to just ask for peace with another person, yes. But whenever I say it, I'm just really asking for Christ consciousness to expand in my mind. Because whatever I'm going to ask for, it's usually, I feel, with my ego. I want something. But when I place my hands in just wanting God and a stronger and more beautiful connected experience with the divine, things seem to just, I go from zero to hero. I'm the hero of my own journey, and God is my North Star. So those are just some things that I've experienced over 7 years with the Prayer of Jabez. So powerful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Mary. That added so much to the conversation. Thank you. Thank you. I love saying it in the past tense. I hadn't thought of that. Say it as if it's already happened, especially with relationships.
Sherry, you have harvested such a rich conversation for this community today and really have planted seeds for us to be able to start our journeys and then to see what grows within these next 30 days. So as we think about that, it's been so inspiring to hear how this has transpired for others already, how people are experiencing this and what's been shared in the chat. Love to just turn it over one more time to see, is there anything else coming up that you feel called to share or you have a question about when you think about starting to harvest in your life with prayer? Okay, anything else? Well, as we wrap this up then, I wanted to just, is there anything else, Sherry, that you'd like to share as we kind of put a bow on this for the moment and see what continues?
Well, actually, Liviana has her hand up.
All right.
No, I just wanted to thank you so much, Sherry, and also for Maureen when she first, I can't remember who prayed it, but just to erase all our preconceived thoughts about the Prayer of Jabez, because there's been some stuff that I've heard along the way that I've kind of shied away from it just because I don't know. I didn't want it to be like a name it and claim it thing. But the way you presented it, Sherry, was so beautiful. And that I was able to connect the dots to the organic nature of it happening in my life. And that I want to be able to carry that through to this next 30 days. And I will have us all in my little expansive circle. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. It was so beautiful, Sherry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, in this incubator of awesomeness, let's close this out with one last song, Lou.
Delighted. That was amazing. This is my song. It's called Warrior of Love. I've been looking in the shadow where the mystery was born. I've been kneeling with the statue in the sun that keeps me warm. I've been following the footsteps of the ones who've come and gone. I've been flying with the eagle to the center of the storm. Late in the afternoon, twilight lifts the sky, stretching out the evening's awning. My heart explodes with joy, I can hear the baby cry. And I have seen the light of a new day dawning. As below, so above. Warrior of love. Take the shackles from my feet and the madness from my mind. Let the circle be complete. Like a moment out of time, made the earth and heaven speak to me. I have been deaf, dumb, and blind. Now every flower's gone to seed. With every dream my heart can find, as I turn within to the emptiness erased, I'm lifted up by the hands that adore me. The whole wide universe is filled with peace and grace. The door of life is opening before me. Give me the strength to trust, like a warrior of love. Warrior of love. On a silent hill where life and death collide, between the past and the present moment's glory. For every questing heart, the path is lit from inside. And all the rest of this, just your story. You are much more than enough. You are much more than enough. You're a warrior of love. Warrior of love.
Good. What's up? Okay.
Warrior of love.
Oh, okay.
Rotisserie. Do you want it in the apartment?
Nah.
Thank you so much, Lou. What a beautiful way to end and round out our service for today. So to our speaker, to our musician, to you all community members that have taken time to show up for yourselves and to lift this meaning and message up. Thank you so much, SpeakEasy. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Katie. Kate.
Thank you.
Thank
Nice
you,
day.
Diana. Such a great job of leading it. Thank you,
Yes.
Mari. Thank you, Lou.